Hello and welcome to Spooning with me, Mark Wogan. Each week I am joined here at the Mount Street restaurant by a very special guest who will be cooked spoons of food that they think they love and stuff they think they hate. Executive chef Jamie Shears will be working his magic downstairs and we will be feeding them blindfolded. Taking on the spoons today is the matchmaker extraordinaire, a man who is no stranger to dating and all its machinations. His new book, Find Love, is out now. It is Paul C Brunson. Welcome.
Yes. Epic, your voice.
Thank
Dulcet.
you. Well, I mean,
Tone.
yours.
No, I think you have one up to me on this one.
Well, I don't
You
know.
have. You have.
I don't know about what I did notice when you arrived, which, you know, the listeners and the viewers can't see, is your very strong trainer game.
Oh my goodness. I appreciate that.
No, that is.
I
I know how limited edition those are.
These are limited, and you know it was tough because it's raining outside.
No. You have
These
to
are
walk
suede. Yeah.
gingerly. They are a fluffy suede number from Adidas.
Yes.
But I did think slightly inappropriate given the weather. But,
Right.
but you strike me as a taxi to table kind of guy.
Very, very much so. Yeah, I had 2 steps outside.
So I have gone to the trouble, and it was a pleasure, of reading your new book,
That's an
Find
honor.
Love.
Thank you.
And it's got almost everything you would need to find love properly. But the other thing I was struck by this book is that it's a fantastic book to send to an ex, isn't it? You need this.
I mean, you said it to the ex. That's like you're signaling a lot.
Exactly.
But yeah, it is for everyone. It's for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, as a slightly older man who has been with the same person for 25 years now.
Okay.
20 years married. But as I always say, if you've been with someone for that long, you've been divorced at least twice. It's just nobody left, right?
It could be. It could be. But, you know, in the book, I talk about this too, is that, you know, I would say, unfortunately, most marriages have very low satisfaction.
Yeah.
80% of marriages here in the UK, low satisfaction. So
Is that particular to the UK? Because obviously you've worked all over the world and you started your career in the US,
Yes.
not in matchmaking, strangely.
Yeah, not matchmaking.
In finance.
in finance, yes.
And then you and your wife Jill
Yes.
made the switch over to this matchmaking business that blew up.
Yes.
So I think if anybody's questioning your credentials, they would be wrong to do so. I mean, you have created loving unions for multiple people, correct?
Yes. 15 years.
15 years.
I got to shout out the research.
Yeah.
The research team. One time for the research team, you are laying out my history right here.
He's sitting over there. He's sitting over there. His name is Johnny. He's sitting over there.
I mean,
All I did was read it, Paul. I can't.
just handed it to you.
Read
Yeah.
that. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, Johnny's on point, but absolutely, 15 years of being in the matchmaking space and the relationship science space, and I love what I do because really what I think I do is inform people, like we are more, you know, dissatisfied than we ever have been, and then examining, well, why is that?
Now, do you think that is down to, in no small part, social media? Because we're bombarded with so many, not necessarily true images of people having fantastic times. You never see them sort of, you know, being grumpy, sitting on the sofa, scratching their bum
Right.
together. You know, you don't see any of that on,
Right.
on. So people have a kind of ideal of how a relationship should be that is perhaps a little unrealistic, maybe?
Yeah, social media definitely plays a role. I think that society plays the largest role. You know, if you think about things, I mean, this is super nerdy stuff, but I think you'll appreciate it. I see the glasses, right?
Yeah.
We share this. Is, you know, you think about how, for example, in the 1970s, thinking about the UK, there was only one acceptable form of a relationship in the UK in the 70s. It was a monogamous, heterosexual marriage to death. That was what society accepted. That was it.
Dictated, in a sense, by religion.
Dictated by religion. Religion really created the nuclear family, right? And that's
And the sort of Victorians a bit in this country.
yeah, well, I think it predates.
Yeah. Well, it was Torquemada,
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
the Catholic Church. And if you disagree with me, put you on the rack until he said yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, it was, and I think we have to all acknowledge this. And then when you acknowledge that, you realize, wow, so who were we before? We were in what, clans? We were mostly polyamorous. Like, and I think it then provokes more questions and then more understanding of why we are where we are today.
Well, I like the example you use in the book of your grandmother.
Yes.
In Jamaica, who had, lived, as you said, or she said, in the bush within the bush.
Right, bush within the bush.
And she had 8 guys to choose from.
Yes.
Within her community.
Yes, and most were her cousins.
It's the old Billy Crystal line. This is what happens when cousins marry.
Yeah. Great comedian, one of the best.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, she had, what was considered to be limited options. But then you could argue, okay, because she had limited options, does that mean that she has more satisfaction in the option that she selects? Versus today, people feel like we have unlimited because of social, but do we actually? I think you can debate.
Well,
this.
I think there is an element, and I think what you've touched on there, and you do in the book as well, is when you have a pool of 8 as opposed to a pool of 8,000.
Yes.
I think you try harder.
With the pool of 8. So, yes. Yes and no.
Right.
Yes and no. So this goes back to, I think the OG on this is Barry Schwartz, who wrote the book Paradox of Choice, one of my favorite books. He's the person who coined the phrase less is more, or more is less, depending on how you look at it, or analysis paralysis. And the whole notion, and I think where we always get it wrong, is we think if we have more options, it means that we have less satisfaction, right? But the actuality is that if we have more actual options, we have less satisfaction in the choice that we eventually make.
Right.
That's the distinction. It's a little distinction there. So with my grandmother, she has limited options. Therefore, you think when she does make a choice, she puts more effort, more value in the choice. But what I would argue is that when you go onto Tinder, let's say, you think you have 8,000 options, but you really don't.
Now, I know that you are connected with Tinder and do quite an important role for them.
Yes.
But I was having a discussion with somebody the other day about how online dating works, and maybe you can clear this up for me.
Okay.
So, in the words of Paula Abdul, opposites attract.
Oh my!
Right?
Can I say, Paula Abdul, one of my favorites? Like really, people are like, I don't really like. No, I like. She's a phenomenal singer.
Yeah, and she's great.
Straight up now, tell me.
Yeah,
Come
exactly.
on now. Yes.
But opposites attract, and when you go on a dating app, whether it be Tinder or Hinge or any of those, I never went on them. It all was after my time.
Okay.
Right? But you are looking for people who are similar to you rather than different to you. Now, my wife and I, Susan, we're very, very different people. We share a lot of the same interests, in particular, a sense of humor.
Okay.
Which I think is the most important thing above. And, for me personally, I think if you can't laugh together, you're in trouble.
Right.
Particularly at each other. But that with dating apps, it's, shared interest, shared this, shared that. And you're doesn't that set you up to kind of jar more as a couple in a funny sort of way? But what do you think about that?
Great question. I have some thoughts. I love Paula Abdul. I think she's wrong when it comes to this. I think opposites do attract, and then they attack.
Okay.
The question really is, what are you...
There's been the odd attack
over
the last 20... Now that you mention it,
because you say you've been divorced a few times within it.
Just nobody left.
But the real question is, what are you different at? You can have different interests, right? That's fine. But what the research shows is that we typically end up having stronger bonds with people that have similarities around values, similarity actually around education, similarity actually around social status. And I hate to even throw this out, but now that I'm living in the UK, which is the class capital of the world, like I've not seen more emphasis on class anywhere in my life.
No, we are unfortunately very good at that.
Very good, right? At the regimented class, even class similarity, shared class becomes part of this. But ultimately, what you want is you want to have strong well-being. And that's what I'm arguing in the book. That supersedes everything. So the data that I found, and this is groundbreaking research, and it's not my research, I'm just published it, is that
You shouldn't have told anyone that.
yeah. You know, it was the lawyer that was
Look
like,
what I do.
You have to cite this stuff. Like if someone else is doing it.
Yeah.
So in this, the whole idea is we're indoctrinated to think, okay, to have a great partner, we need to share values, share level of education, share all these things. Those are important. Sexual compatibility, important. Like these are important. But the most important by far is that you and your partner have strong well-being. If you have strong well-being before you enter the relationship, there's a higher likelihood of you having higher satisfaction in the relationship.
Well, that was the thing, is I started reading the book. As I was going through the initial bits that those people who are still single, you know, chapters 1 through 2. And then we got to the bit which in the back of my head are going, no, but you need to be there, which is a strong sense of self is the key to a successful relationship.
Absolutely.
So to the point you're making is, I need to be right so that relationship has a chance of being right. No relationship can bear the slings and arrows of your insecurities and your problems from the past or whatever it may be. And it was interesting touching on the parenting part of it as well, and how you were parented and how that affects everyone's ability to be depended on or depend on others.
Absolutely.
Which I think is the key.
Absolutely.
In that kind of thing where you allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to depend on someone else.
Yes. And parenting, I think parents are underrated completely. I mean, you are, as a parent, you're not just raising a child, you're raising the next generations. And you have to understand that what you are doing is going to make or break your child.
Yes.
Like literally, it's going to make or break. So it's very important. Yes, we learn to love from our parents and how they loved, and then it shows up when we're adults.
But if you don't experience, solid parenting or whatever, you then do end up at chapter, where are we now? Chapter 8.
Yes.
Red flags, how to identify toxic partners.
The dark tetrad, I know.
Now, having read that, it paints a fairly grim picture of humanity in terms of the kind of people you might encounter.
Yes.
The narcissist.
Yes.
I mean, being almost the kind of socially acceptable one. Because, is there 9 signs of narcissism or something like that?
So
I think most people in today's society have about 7.
Yeah. There are, the actual scale is there's almost 22.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, within the actual scale.
I know some people with about 25.
Narcissism is growing, and I write about that in the book.
Driven by the sort of parameters set by social media.
Absolutely. That is definitely one component. Yes, one component. And it's not only the narcissism that's increasing, psychopaths. I talk about everything. The sadists are increasing, the Machiavellians are increasing. So everyone within that dark tetrad group, they are on the rise.
Which is troubling. Or did we just not know before?
Right.
So I remember, quite recently as a family we went somewhere, and my son, who's 17, was paired up with another young man his age to sort of hang out with. And afterwards, when we were leaving, I said, how was so-and-so? Was he a nice guy? And he said, a bit of a narcissist. Now, when I was 17, I had no idea what that word meant.
Yeah.
So are we too vigilant at some level?
Yeah.
In terms of we don't let stuff just naturally play out and understand it. It's like we're going and going, are they too particular about how they dress? Are they,
Yeah.
We're on too, which you also touch on, that thing where you go into something on high alert the whole time. You're looking to be hurt. You're looking to be disappointed. You're looking to be upset. You're looking for a problem as you enter something.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say that we mislabel the hell out of psychological terms. Everyone's a narcissist. Everyone's being gaslit. Everyone's OCD. Yeah. And so we are doing a disservice to the real victims of narcissism or real victims of being gaslit, which has serious consequences. So we have to stop mislabeling. That's one. Secondly, is you're absolutely right in that we have better tools to diagnose today, which is one of the reasons why you see so many ADHD diagnosis today. Is because the tools and the scale. So it's, we use the DSM-5 to determine ADHD. The scale has changed. So in essence, we're giving more allowance to say, okay, you do have ADHD. The same thing with narcissism. But then also, society has drastically changed. And society has put pressures on us. We live with more anxiety, more stress than ever before. So all of these play a role in why we technically have more narcissists, or the dark tetrad.
Yes. And it is quite something reading that. It did slightly make me think about humanity. And maybe that's because I come from a generation where there wasn't that level of awareness about it. And, that sort of touching on that, how opposites may or may not attract. It's one of the other keys, I think, to a successful relationship is being able to compromise.
Yes.
And not trying to control every aspect of that person and how they think about stuff. It's like, I just need them to be a bit more like this.
Right.
I mean, I think I've been through various phases in my relationship where I've reached brick walls, and you realize I just need to compromise here. And I would say now, at 25 years together, we're the happiest we've ever been. And we've had our ups and downs, and I think everybody at some point stands on the edge of the abyss of their relationship, looks into it and goes, oh, God, that's awful.
Should I jump?
Should I jump, or should we just carry on?
Yeah.
And you go, should we just carry on? Now, obviously, you're a handsome man, you're a well-dressed man,
I don't know.
You've got this beautiful family. You paint quite a potentially unobtainable picture. Please tell me you and Jill argue.
Yeah, we are. But quite honestly, not a lot.
No.
No, my wife is my best friend. And to your point of 25 years in, it's better than ever before. I'm 22 in, better than ever before, right? And I think that ultimately people kind of, so many years ago, my wife and I were offered a reality show. So it was it was the Oprah Winfrey Network, a matter of fact. And they were like, hey, we want to do a show on you and your family and your kids and blah, 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 blah. And my wife, Jill, she said, no, let's not do this. And there were a couple of reasons, but one of the reasons was we have a boring life. She's like, it's boring. It's going to be boring.
So I suppose, seeing as what you guys promote or what you represent, people want to see how true is that, and it's like, well, it is quite true.
Yeah, but it's boring.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of extremes.
Hopefully not to you two.
No, well, boring from the sense of it's very opposed to right. It's very it's one tone that we hit. That's our relationship.
That's the happy place.
That's the happy place. Yeah. That's where we want to be.
So obviously, other things you do in your career, you deal with people on TV with shows like Celebs Go Dating or Married at First Sight, people who are perhaps slightly challenging in the relationship department.
I like how you talk. It is slightly challenging.
Has there been anyone that you thought, no, you should never, ever be in a relationship. You belong on your own. There is no one out there for you.
You know what? No. Because I believe that marriage is not for everyone, but we were not put on earth to do it alone. We're just not. We need other people. Even if you think about the nerdy, like co-regulation, like when you get stressed, you need to have another nervous system, which is technically another person. It could be a dog, but really it's another person. You need another nervous system to calm you down. You do, right? It's Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory is like fact. So we need other people, period. So I've never thought to any one of those contributors or cast members, a relationship can't be for you. Maybe not now.
Yeah,
but it can't
you've
be.
got quite a lot of work to do
Yes.
before you enter one.
Yes, there's a lot of people that.
When you were doing the matchmaking business,
Yes.
do you have one or two people that spring to mind that were like, they were challenging? It took us a long time to get them to that position.
Yeah, I have I had two categories of people that I thought were challenging / taught me lessons. One category is I would have people come in because a lot of them were business leaders, very type A, just very anal, and they would come in with spreadsheets. Literally, I'd have like 150 items. I need this. He needs to have good feet. Here's an example of what good feet looks like. It's all 5 toes. It's like the nails.
Yeah,
like
I'd fail that.
Really?
My
The good
family
feet?
laugh at my feet.
Really?
We won't get into that now.
Do you have 6 toes or 5?
I've got the normal amount of toes, just some of them aren't that good looking.
Okay.
Yeah. But, you can't have everything.
Now, is it the toe or is it the toenail that's not good looking?
It's the toe.
Is it? Oh,
I have
wow.
a freak second toe.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Essentially, it's much longer than the big toe.
Really?
Yeah. My very past remarkable yet loving son will say, "You should never wear slides, Dad." It's like, all right. No, really.
Because your
wear
second,
Birkenstocks, they're better for you.
your second toe is longer than the first.
Yeah. I got that from my mother, though.
See, you know what's interesting about that? So, according to this particular client, you would not even meet her criteria.
Yeah.
Now, do you think your second toe being longer than your first has any impact on who you are?
No, it has an impact on the shoes I might suit, but I mean, high heels are out of the question, Paul. I could, it won't go into a winkle pick a toe. Forget about it.
It's too long.
Yeah.
But your behavior, how you show whether or not you're emotionally available, and it goes to the point of the lesson that I learned from that group is that when we have these long lists, we are closed-minded. Carol Dweck's book, Mindset, one of my favorites, we're either open mindset or closed mindset. Closed mindset. So I had one group of clients that were very rigid, right? But then I had another group that were typically an older group, mid-70s, that had no criteria. Like almost none, really.
I like the story in the book about the woman who's like, all he needs to be able to do is get upstairs.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. But there's beauty in that.
Yeah.
To say, I could be with anyone. And he goes to your point earlier around the dating apps. I think with the dating apps, the problem is exactly what you outlined, and that is that there's so much emphasis on here's the type of person that I believe I should be with. Now, because you mentioned Tinder, I have to say this. I'm head of global research for Tinder. And one thing that we do distinctly different than all the other apps is Tinder is a pool of here's how you can meet people that are not in your social network.
Right.
So 80% of our daters are interested in dating people with a different ethnicity, different religion, possibly even a different nationality. That's beautiful in my mind because you don't know who's going to align. You need to have well-being, values is good, but you could like different music. You could appreciate different forms of comedy, but still have a laugh together, right? So you don't have to have the same class, same level of education to have a great relationship.
So I think the positive thing you're saying there about dating apps is they have the ability to break down a lot of the traditional barriers that would have stood in people's way of just meeting a wider range of people. And I like in the book how you refer to them as like, it's almost like, let's not call them dating apps, let's call them meeting apps. It's like you're going to meet someone.
Yeah, it's just meeting. And to your point of how they break down the barriers. So Tinder was founded in 2012. And literally, if you look at interracial dating in the West, and you look at it's basically flat. And then you look at the introduction of Tinder, and then you see interracial dating grow and grow and grow. One reason is because of the apps. It was like, oh, wow, I can now meet someone who's not in my community.
And I think that is an important part of integration in whatever format it takes. Going back to your TV work.
Okay.
So, celebs go dating and married at first sight. I mean, a part of that is because in some cases it's so extreme what's going on
Yes.
that it makes the rest of us feel better about our relationships or how we might meet someone. Do you find that you're ever compromised in any of those shows in terms of the work that you can do because you're having to follow the format of the show?
Great question. Yes. I think the third series of MAFs, I've done, I think 5. I think I'm on 6 now. But I think my third series.
There's more to come, right?
Oh yeah, we're filming one right now.
And what about more Celebs Go Dating?
I believe it's going to come. I mean, we typically find out right around now, and I've had some encouraging emails. Should I say that?
Good. So
I'll leave it at that.
We can expect more, because the other thing is that, particularly in this country, is like we like to see celebrities in really compromising, difficult positions.
Yeah, I mean, and we've also introduced brunches on Celebs Go Dating, which some people love, but some people hate. But it is about putting them in more precarious situations. But when I for Married at First Sight, I think it was my third series, I go to therapy, but I had to change/increase my therapy. And it was because I was too emotionally connected to the outcomes of these shows.
Right.
And I began to see my value as a professional connected to the result of the show. So for Married at First Sight, if we didn't have our couples together at the end, I would think it's my fault. And I would just go in a mood and be upset and talking about arguments. Like I would just be a dick, you know what I mean? And I had to learn to not tie my value into that. So yes, I feel like I've been in these challenging positions where I have to now learn how to operate in these spaces.
Because it is different because you're under scrutiny the whole time that you're doing it.
Yeah, and afterwards, like I walk out here and people are like, "What? Why did you match so and so?" It's like, yeah, it was. Also, a lot of us, it's not just me doing it, So, yeah.
Well, I think there'll be lots of people pleased to know that Celebs Go Dating is hopefully coming back.
Yeah, you're not going to get a definitive statement from me.
No.
But you will get. I've received some encouraging emails.
Excellent.
That it will be. Yeah.
Now, before coming on, like all our guests, you fill out a little food questionnaire of your food loves and your food hates.
Yes.
And what I love with a lot of people's questions and the answers that they give is, it's always really heavily related to childhood. And, this is where a lot of our food tastes are formed and whatever. So I have something here for you, which is in line with our sponsor, Gressingham Duck. Right? We have your favorite Chinese food here.
Oh, yeah. You know what? A little duck wrap?
We've got a little duck pancake for you here.
Yeah. Okay. I have heard.
Yes.
Someone told recently, within the last 2 weeks, that you must know the proper way to put this together.
Well, this is what I was going to bring up with you. Okay. Are you a drizzler?
Okay.
Or a spreader?
So
if you'll excuse the terminology.
I like to spread whenever I can. Yeah.
The love and everything else.
But what is it now? I'm trying to remember. It was the it's like the hoisin, and you have to take, and it's something that you do. I don't know. I mean, I always do the sauce
all right,
first.
We're going to judge you now.
Okay.
Put one together.
This is how I do it.
Okay.
Now I'm sure I'm doing it incorrectly, but this is what I do. First I take a little bit of the hoisin like this, and I just
see. I like a lot more than that.
No, see.
Oh, so you're just a stripe down the middle.
I'm up right down the middle.
Okay.
I'm less is more.
Okay.
Okay. And then what I'll do is I'll take some of this.
So you go with the spring onions first.
Yeah. All right.
Interesting.
Then
and a bit of cucumber.
But this is one, just ever so. I'm going to go with a nice.
Fantastic thing about these Gressingham duck. This all comes done. You just pop that in the oven.
Really?
And it's ready to go. And it is really good, high quality.
All right. Well, let me go heavy then. Yeah. So this is because you need to have the right
plenty
balance.
more where that came from, Paul. Don't worry about that.
So you see it's a nice balance. Then what I do is I take this like this, and take it.
So you're going for the roll,
and I go for the roll like this. Right.
No, you don't. You haven't. That's beautifully done.
Okay. What do you think?
I think it's great done, but okay. So I'm going to go in.
Did I do it?
Well,
okay,
no, I'm just
tell me.
No, because everybody has their way of doing it. So I go a little.
Oh my God.
I go a little different. I like a decent amount of hoisin, and then I spread out.
Okay.
Now, this may have something to do with my pizza background.
I'm just saying, you're making a pizza right now.
Do you know, when we first launched Home Slice, we got a fantastic review in the Evening Standard based on duck pizza. Yeah, and that's what got us our great review and changed the business. And I then go, so I've gone for the spread.
Okay.
I then go for the duck after that. No, I mean, you see, the thing is, everyone has their own way of doing these things.
Yours is...
And I'm a little more loaded than you.
Yeah. You're loaded on that, but it's probably better. Probably tastes better that way.
Well, we'll see. And then, so that's all there.
Okay,
there
you do
like
two-
I'm just
two-
going to
you
move
do
my glass out of the way.
You do 2 pieces here.
And then just a little, I've got to get that there. So then I go here, like that. And because I've got the extra sauce in, as I roll up, I fold the bottom.
Oh, you fold the bottom.
That, almost burrito style, so I don't get any dropout of the bottom, you see?
I see.
Like that. So I can hold it like that. None of the sauce comes out.
Well, you have a saucy one over there.
Yeah.
You're
So
a spreader.
let's indulge in a little of this.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah. See? That's a great duck pancake.
That's tasty.
Yeah.
You know,
Ready in 20 minutes in the oven.
really? Does the hoisin come too? No.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Everything.
Everything comes with it. Pancakes, the whole thing.
I'm going to do this for my boys.
Yeah. No, it's really good.
That's tasty.
Thankfully, we've got napkins because it's also quite hands-on.
See, that's the upside of not going heavy with the spread.
Yeah, but you see, I love hoisin sauce. I could almost eat it straight off the spoon.
I could too. You know, normally what I'll do too is whatever fried rice on the side. I'll take the hoisin, just a little sprinkle, a little dab in there.
So I've eased you in gently to
have.
the food part of proceedings, but
I've enjoyed that.
Good. The lovely people at Gressingham Duck will be very happy.
Yeah, I truly will be purchasing that.
Good.
Yes.
It's got a full Paul C Brunson endorsement.
Yes, that was excellent. That was excellent.
So you've had a little water. You've
Yes.
cleansed your palate.
Yes,
Because we've got
cleansed.
to that point in proceedings where
Okay.
I bring out the blindfold.
Oh my
Now,
goodness.
obviously, with some of your advice, you might advise people to wear one of these as part of spicing up their relationship. However, today is to stop you being able to see what you're
Wow,
eating.
this is a serious one. This actually looks like a bra. I
Yeah.
mean, look at that. It's a full. Is this
It
a
is.
bra?
No, it's not a bra. It is for your eyes, or
Are you sure?
or someone with about a 12-inch chest.
Okay. All right. So once I put this on, then what happens?
You are in my hands. I will be gentle with you, though.
All right.
Okay, so pop the blindfold on. Okay, so here is your first spoon. I'm going to feed it to you. Don't worry about that.
Okay. And am I? Do you want me to what?
Once you've got it in there, I want you to describe the textures, the flavors, and what you're experiencing. So open wide. Here it comes. There we go. So what's the initial? What's the first thing that hits the palate? What's the texture?
You know, cheese. Mm-hmm. Cheesy. But in the cheese, there's a rice, a carb, heavy carb. You know, it's not bad though.
You like the flavor?
It's not bad. I'm not mad at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pop the blindfold off. Pop the blindfold off.
Okay.
Okay. Because that is pumpkin porridge. And one of the things that you said you hated from your childhood was squash,
I hate squash. Yes.
which essentially is pumpkin.
So that was squash.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So
That was pretty good.
Jamie, the chef here, basically dices it up and almost makes like a sort of risotto type texture out of it.
Yes.
And then it has that fantastic British cheese with it as well.
You know,
So would you have?
I'm impressed.
Would you have the second spoon unblindfolded?
I would. That
Well,
was
go ahead.
tasty.
It's your spoon to have.
Yeah. You know, I despise squash.
But you've just eaten a second spoon of it willingly. We have succeeded.
I wonder if it's the cheese though.
Listen, the whole principle of spooning is there is no such thing as a bad ingredient. You've just had it cooked badly for you.
Okay.
And depending on the combination or how it's cooked or whatever, you can enjoy something that you thought you hate, which we have proven.
That was impressive. Because I really do hate squash. Like, I hate the sight of squash. You know what I mean?
Well, we've even hidden it. We've made it look like risotto.
Yes, it looked like, that was great.
It's clever, right?
That was impressive.
Yeah, he's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
He's very good at what he does.
That was good.
Now, it turns out from your book, which is Find Love,
Yes.
you have a great bit at the back, which is the long-term relationship satisfaction scale. So it's a section in the back of the book where you as the reader get to fill out a questionnaire.
Yes.
So it is scored 1 to 5.
Yes.
1 being not at all, and 5 being completely.
Yes.
Right, so I did this based on my own relationship.
Okay.
Now, I did this on my own because obviously having been with the same person for 25 years, you're just careful about what you share. So the first bit is about yourself.
Yes.
And the lowest score I gave myself was a 3.
Okay.
Which was, I am comfortable spending time alone. Because it's one of those things, weirdly, I crave is, alone time or whatever. The minute I have it, I don't want it anymore.
Interesting.
I'm like, I want to be back with my family. I want to be around friends. I like being around people. And I think that thing that we all need, but modern society doesn't necessarily provide it, or it provides it in a digital sense, is community.
Yes. Yes.
And that's really important to my personal well-being.
Yes.
Because as you said, the focus is, how's your well-being?
Yes.
And for me, it's all about community. It's about an interaction with people. It's about being around other people. So as much as, I don't sit there and start picking my eyelashes out if I'm on my own, but I prefer being around people.
Okay.
But
Okay. So did you feel like you rated yourself a 5 in the other categories?
no, I was a kind of 4 in the other
You're
categories.
4s, okay.
So I understand that my partner cannot be perfect in every way. I didn't go for a 5 on that. I went for a 4 on that because I think you've got to be realistic. There'll be days when you will go, why can't you, in your head, you go, why the hell can't you do that?
Yes. Yes.
And then you have to look at what your expectations are of yourself and that person and the relationship. Because I think the other important thing is, if your expectations out of whack, you're going to be miserable.
Yeah. That is, since you've already gone through it, that's the first part of that. So the first part is technically an infatuation scale. And it's built in because you're right. If your expectation is off due to infatuation, everything else is going to be off.
Yeah.
So that's so well done. Well done.
But I think that there is that thing in all relationships. Like, if you meet someone that you like, there's that initial part where you'll sit up till 3, 4 in the morning and you're fascinated by everything that comes out of this person's mouth. You want to hear everything they have to say. You want to climb inside their head and other parts of them. And because you just want to consume that person. And I think that's a lovely part of the initial part of falling in love. But then we have this bizarre moment where at some point one or other goes, oh, I know you now.
yes.
And you just ignore that person.
Yes.
And that's that bit that you touch on, which is retaining intimacy.
Yes.
And not about touching each other. There's other parts. Retaining a mental intimacy with someone where you care what they think. What's their opinion on that? How do they feel about that? You actually talk to them rather than naturally assume, I know what they're going to think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we all change and develop as we grow.
Absolutely. And that's the reason why, in one of my favorite chapters, chapter 7, in Green Flags, the idea is you
As
want
opposed to red flags.
Exactly. Or beige. You know what beige flags are? The green flag. That's why you need someone who has curiosity as a trait. It's very important because you can't get those levels of emotional intimacy unless they're curious.
And the beige one?
The beige flags, so, green flags obviously are things you should be looking for. Red, things you should stay away from. Beige flags have become very popular on different dating apps. And in essence, what they are the quirks. whatever you feel is quirky that you do, that's different, that makes you you, that people may not even believe that you do, that's a beige flag. So for example, one thing that I do that no one really believes that I do it, but once a month I play a game of Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
I'm a big D&D geek, and I play that with my brother, my brother-in-law. It's a whole group of us that do it virtually. That would be a beige flag. Hey, I play D&D. You know, I play a role-playing game. So whatever is a beige, whatever's unique, that's a beige flag.
So I'm just trying to think what my beigeness would be. I think, well, my morning routine is odd.
Really?
Well, I get in an ice bath within 5 minutes of waking up.
Okay, that's a beige flag.
Yeah, that's a beige flag. Yeah.
That's a beige flag.
And my wife looks at me like I'm insane.
That's, yeah. There you go.
But she's accepting of it.
Yeah.
Because then we get to the bit in this where you, for the next set of statements, think about your partner.
Yes, this is the real stuff.
So Susan scored a lot of 4s and 5s here.
Okay.
But I would say her 3s were, are they comfortable about opening up about things that are difficult in their life? She got a 3 for that. Because she's quite internal. We can have those conversations, but it's like I have to slightly pull it out of her sometimes.
Okay.
Which I think she'd agree with. Maybe not with me mentioning it on here.
Okay.
Maybe we can have,
I think there's going to be a lower likelihood that she'll be open.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm clamming right up now since you talked about it on the podcast. But on the whole, we went through, right? I answered all the questions. And what do you think of that score?
Solid. Wonderful. But the fact that you said, at the start, you said that you feel like you're stronger now than 25 years. So that's what I would expect.
Because you say that 190 or above, your score indicates a likelihood of a fulfilling long-term relationship. You and your partner demonstrate strong compatibility, positive dynamics, and the essential qualities for a lasting bond. So 190 above. I'm going to be a little smug now.
Yeah.
205.
But you know what it means, though? You know what it means? It means that you still continue the work.
Yeah.
But the intervention, if you will, is less severe.
Yeah.
Right? So, when I developed this, I was looking at how a lot of the greatest therapists do their work. And in essence, it is provide an assessment, then based on the assessment, provide a varying level of intervention. And then lastly, there's monitoring of the intervention. But that's the assessment.
But I think with when you do an assessment like that, and whatever kind of parameters it is, in the case of this book, it is, about you and your ability to love another person correctly. That what it is it creates good talking points for you and your partner. It makes you look at stuff in a way that you wouldn't normally look at it, or just stops you taking stuff for granted, including, that person.
Yes, yeah.
So I think it's a really clever part in the book, that, and I actually really enjoyed filling it out.
I appreciate that you did it, and I think one thing that you may be surprised or maybe not be surprised is that when we were testing the efficacy of this, we tested it with 800 people. The average score, 150.
Okay.
So
I feel extra.
So now I'm good.
I'm good.
But yeah, most people, and it speaks to the fact that there's 80% of marriages, there's a low level of dissatisfaction.
Well, I think because people forget to talk, or that thing of, which we have been guilty of, is, you sit down and you're staring at a phone while you're sitting next to someone on a sofa.
Right.
So it's like, no phones at the table, interact, conversation. Because as good as a smartphone is, I do have issues with it.
Yeah,
and
same.
I think it does interrupt very important but subtle parts of a relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Put your phone down, look up, and look into someone you love's eyes.
The wildest study that I've ever seen done was that it's almost 50%. It's like 47% of people have engaged in sex while using a smartphone.
Wow. What, to film it?
No, to answer a text.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's yeah, you're really not present.
Right,
are
right.
you?
I mean, but that's the day and age that we're living. You feel so connected to your phone that you need to use it while,
No, that's really strange. But talking of strange, I'm going to ask you to put the blindfold back on again.
Oh my gosh, I have to put this back on.
Yeah, we've got your second spoon now, Paul.
Oh man, okay. Here it is.
So secure that. Put the tiny bra back on.
Yeah. Tiny, tiny bra. Okay.
Okay. So here we go. The second and final spoon for you.
Uh-oh. I'm scared now.
Don't be scared.
The first one was good, so.
Okay. Well, here we go. Open wide. What have you got there?
Oh, wow. Chocolate mousse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well spotted. You can take the blindfold off. You knew immediately.
Yeah.
Well, because in your questionnaire,
It's excellent.
For a man who's in as good a shape as you are, to read your favorite ingredients was chocolate, butter, cream, sugar, everything like that. It's like, doesn't seem, you're not eating a lot of it, whatever it is.
But those are all of my favorite ingredients right there.
Yeah.
And yes, can I
And
have
it
the
literally
second
has
spoon?
it all. Yeah, it's all yours. Finish the first spoon, have the second
let me
spoon.
Yeah. This is great. This is awesome.
And that is a proper chocolate mousse. It's light.
This is excellent.
Yeah.
And who made this?
Jamie, head chef here.
Gosh.
I mean, I'd love to claim
Excellent.
it. I'd love to claim it, but it's not me. See, so we've ended on a happy note.
Thank you for that.
We've ended on a happy note. Now, obviously, I am going to take this book with me and refer to it going on. So it is, in a sense, the gift that we'll keep giving.
It will.
Before you go, I've got a little present for you down here.
Do you?
So there are a couple of Gressingham duck breasts. Now,
Thank you.
you see, because I think duck sits beautifully between chicken and steak.
Yes.
So if you want the alternative, and what a lot of people don't realise about duck is the iron levels higher than most meats. The iron levels in duck. But people are scared of cooking it because they look at it and go, "Oh, but it's got loads of fat." You literally in the pan, just score the flesh in the pan, just let that render down that fat, then just flip it over, let it rest. And then at that point, you can either eat it how it is or slice it, put it through a red curry, whatever it is. But people are always, whenever you give them duck, they're always blown away by, oh my God, it's so tender and it's so tasty. And it's got so much more going for it than people think.
I'm a massive duck fan.
Good.
Massive. This will most likely be eaten within 24 hours.
Excellent. Well, make sure you get it in the fridge because it's been down here on the floor next to me for a while. I'd just like let's point out to any of the listeners, it is still in the packaging. It wasn't just two random duck breasts thrown on the carpet.
That you packaged on the way up. Yeah. Yeah. And no, it's cool. I can still feel it. It's cool. It's cool to the touch.
Well, Paul, I cannot thank you enough for taking part in spooning. You've been a great sport. Paul's book, Find Love, is out now, and I can recommend it if you are looking for love. I will be giving this copy to Johnny, the producer, who seems to be unable to find love in any way, shape or form. Or perhaps I can ask Paul to give him a quick session after the podcast here, because he really needs help. But thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you so much.
The book is out now.
The book is out now. Thank you for changing my mind about squash, too. That really, thank you.
That is the whole aim of the podcast, Paul.
Yes.
Changing opinions on ingredients, and we have succeeded, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Huge thanks to Paul C Brunson, and his book, Find Love, is out now. That's it for Spooning for this week, but join me next week when another very special guest will be taking on spoons of things they think they love and things they think they hate. My thanks as ever to the fantastic Jamie Shears and the team here at the Mount Street restaurant. If you like what we're doing here, you can follow us at Spooning with Mark Wogan across all your social media channels, and of course you can find us on YouTube. So until next week, stay beautiful, people.